What's up mga beshies? We are back. We are your resident chikadoras. I'm 𝗬𝗨.
And I'm V.
And this is 𝗪𝗏. Ayan. So, V, how are you doing?
Okay lang. Init na init sa panahon.
Totoo. Kasi napakainit recently. Kaya mga beshies, remember to always hydrate.
Yes.
Sabi nga ni Mimi, drink your water. Ganun. So, yeah, huwag natin kalimutang mag-hydrate kasi napakainit lately, napaka-alinsangan.
Magpayong kayo, paglalabas kayo, grabe.
Yes, paglalabas, umulan man, umaraw, magpayong kayo guys. Iwasan natin ang heat stroke, okay? So, yan. So, before we proceed to our episode for today, Beshi, let's do a recap muna about sa mga napag-usapan natin last episode. So, ano ba yung napag-usapan natin last episode?
So, last episode natin, mga beshies,
kung recap lang natin ngayon, was about hobbies. So, we talked about different kind of hobbies, physical, arts and crafts, educational, and relaxation, and yung mga many benefits na binibigay sa atin ng mga hobbies, tulad ng productivity and opportunity to rest or take a break without feeling guilty, and it also enhances new skills in us, and it brings us new perspectives, and as well as builds character. So, hobbies don't have to be expensive or bongga to be worthwhile. And, of course, we have to reiterate that hobbies are not the solution to the problem, but they help us cope with our emotions and makes our heads clearer, which in turn can help us see things in a new light and help us think of ways to solve the problems that we're currently experiencing. And, of course, lastly, it's okay to come out of the pandemic without any new hobbies or learning new activities. Kasi right now, mga beshi, syempre, right now, the focus is survival, but not everyone is on the same boat nga. So, don't be too hard on yourself.
Totoo. So, ayan, yun yung mga napag-usapan natin last episode. So, on this episode, medyo kakaiba yung pag-uusapan natin. So, di ba, one misconception about our generation, millennials daw tayo. Pero, di ba, let's correct that. Hindi po kami mga millennials. Kami po ay mga Gen Z. Gen Zs po kami mga beshies. So, or tayo sa mga nakikinig sa amin, we are Gen Zs. So, ano ba yung mga Gen Zs? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, pero I believe from 1995 to 2006, 2008, hindi ako sure doon. So, somewhere there yung range ng Gen Zs.
Oh.
So, since I'm born in the year 2000, so considered na Gen Z ako. Ayan. Or ikaw, Beshi, di ba you're like 2000 or 2001?
2001 ako, besh.
So, pasok pa rin
So,
tayo.
Gen Z pa rin.
Yes, pasok. So, yung mga born sa ganong age range or sa ganong year range, mga Gen Z. So, yung mga Gen Z, parang palagi natin naririnig sa mga nanay natin, sa mga tito-tita natin, mga titas of Manila, ganyan, na may certain characteristic daw tayo, di ba? So, may mga stereotypes sa atin na nakaglue daw tayo sa phone natin 24/7. So, maririnig natin yan palagi sa mga nanay natin na, ano ba yan, cellphone ka na lang ng cellphone, ganyan. Tapos, isa yan sa mga stereotypes sa atin. Tapos, isa daw is, we are unable to do things face-to-face or cannot handle social interaction, lack focus, and short attention spans. Yun yung mga stereotypes sa atin. Pero, hindi naman po, it does not hold true for everyone, di ba? Like, there are some siguro na nahihirapan. Kasi, di ba, iba-iba naman tayo ng social interaction or iba-iba tayo ng way of interacting with others. So, merong introvert, may mga extrovert. So, hindi talaga natin yung pwedeng i-judge. Tapos sabi nila, Gen Z people are actually very ambitious and do use existing technology as a way to further interest/advocacies. Eto, nag-agree ako dito kasi I myself, I have some, di ba, parang hashtag, meron nga tayong tinatawag na hashtag goals, di ba? So, parang we really make use of what we have right now to reach our goals. Also, this is one advantage of being born in this current age of technology, age of social media, kasi we have access to information. At saka giving us the advantage of easily educating ourselves on a wide range of topics. So, kasi mayroon tayong access to technology, like when we were young, we were introduced to phones, tapos as we grew older, nung lumaki tayo, nagsilabasan yung smartphones, the advent of internet, ganon. parang nag-boom na lahat, may YouTube. So, mas madali tayo nakakuha ng information. So, because of that, kasi mas nakakuha tayo ng information, our generation daw tends to be more vocal and more opinionated about certain topics. So, agree ka ba doon, Beshi?
Yes, Beshi.
So, lastly, Beshi, nung sabi nila, ano daw, Gen Z people are more open-minded to possibilities and in general. So, open-minded tayo in possibility towards certain possibilities and about life in general.
Yan. Na-observe ko yan. Parang ang sobrang tulang, no? Kasi laging, parang naririnig ko sa mga matatala, sabihin na parang binabago nyo na lang lagi lahat. Ang dami daw na invento ng mga salita, na yung mga concepts ko tulad ng, tawag ito, mga rights ng LGBT, sasabihin nila na, okay, ang daming i-invento, ang daming kaarte-artahan na ganun. So, kung mga Gen Z ngayon, parang mas open sila na, okay, baka mali yung pinalakhan ko, or baka...
Oo, totoo.
Samantalang lalo na yung mga boomer, especially yung mga boomer. Oh my God.
Oh my God, the attack.
Pero karamihan talaga sa kanila is like, we do not like this new stuff.
Yes,
and parang gusto ko parang kung yung generation nyo ba, hindi kayo nag-advance, diba? Parang binago nyo din naman yung mga ginawa ng mga generation na nauna sa inyo.
Totoo.
Maka-attack sila sa atin, wagas.
Actually, kasi diba, our world, our society is moving forward, and also the norms and our values should also move forward, diba? Hindi tayo pwedeng ma-stuck doon sa previous kineme nila. So, as we move forward, we also strive for a more inclusive society, diba?
True.
So, ayan. Interesting yung episode natin today because we will be talking about youth initiatives. And because we are talking about youth initiatives, magkakaroon tayo ng interviews. So, meron tayong mga guest speakers for our episode today. Di ba? Napaka-exciting, Beshi?
Yes, I'm so excited.
We will get to meet people who started or joined initiatives, and they are actually creating an impact ngayon, no? So nakakabilib at saka nakaka-proud na as young as they are, like they are the same age as us. Tapos they are already creating an impact, 'di ba? An impact towards our society, towards a certain sector.
Yes.
Kaya grabe, applause.
So mga beshies, we have our guest speaker for today. So our guest speaker is a co-VP for Marketing and Creatives at WiTech. She studies architecture in UP Diliman, and she finds enjoyment in creative work like graphic design, dancing ballet, playing the piano, and baking cookies. So our guest speaker for today is none other than Miss Alie Santana. Yay!
Hello po.
Miss
Welcome
Alie.
po, Miss Alie.
Thank you for having me.
So, how are you naman po, Miss Alie? How are you holding up during this pandemic?
I'm okay, I think. I could be worse, honestly, but also, of course, could be better. I just finished a full day of school and Zoom classes. So, ayun, medyo sabog. But like, who isn't, right? So, yeah. Oh, I just wanted to add also, that's really understandable naman to be struggling right now. Because I don't think it's normal to be acting like nothing is happening and that everything is the same as it was before.
Yes.
So yeah, I think my struggles and your struggles are very warranted.
Yes, that's so.
Dami sinabi.
No, it's okay. It's okay, Miss Alie.
But yes, I'm glad there are people like quarantine
Aww.
that have initiatives that help people cope with the pandemic. So thank you.
And we thank you also for lending us your time, your precious time this afternoon.
No problem.
So ayun, we mentioned kanina that Miss Alie is the co-VP for Marketing and Creatives at WiTech. So Miss Alie, ano ba yung WiTech?
Okay, so WiTech is short for Youth for Women and Technology Incorporated. So we're a non-profit, youth-led, SEC-registered organization that aims to educate, inspire, and empower the youth to break gender stereotypes and make a difference in technology and through technology. So yeah, that's pretty much it about WiTech. We were founded in 2016 by 𝗬𝗶𝗁𝗏. We started out as a blog, and then in 2017 we rebranded into a community organization. So yeah, now a few years later in 2021, we've been able to hold a number of projects, including the Women in Tech Conference. We've held 3 so far. This is a one-day event that aims to expose students and educators to the wide array of research and accomplishments of Philippine women within the field of technology. So our latest one was actually this March, March 26 to 28, and this was our very first online WitCon. So yeah, it was really different experience, but I enjoyed it a lot. I just also want to plug our other projects. We have WeTeach, which is like our outreach project where we give the Filipino youth, regardless of gender or socioeconomic status, the tools necessary for them to consider science and technology as a path for the future. So in the past, our founder and some of our members were able to go to Marawi and teach them about the basics of computer-related topics. So that was really interesting. And since we're online now and we can't really do physical outreaches, what we've been doing is we've been updating our modules, and we've put this on our website. So they're open access modules. So if you check our website, you can actually see this. And if you need like to learn more about tech-related stuff, you can try to check our open access modules on our website. We've also had We Talks, which is a series of talks that center around women using tech to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So our latest one was about SDG number 5, gender equality. And that was also our very first online We Talks, but it was also very interesting. We had speakers like Samira Gutok. So that was really insightful. I also learned a lot about gender equality in that talk. And in the past, we've also had a number of talks on the SDGs, and I'm definitely more excited to see our future talks. We also have a chapter expansion program. So I think right now we have more than 12 chapters from across the Philippines and even internationally. And I'm really proud that some of these chapters have already been able to hold their own WitCons and their own We Talks and their own We Teaches. So yeah, it has grown a lot since the time that we were founded, and I'm really, really proud of that.
So you've come a long way na po pala, no? That's very nice yung ginagawa ng inyong organization. It's very interesting, very inspiring as well. But we would like to ask po, what inspired you to join WiTech?
Okay, I actually found out about WiTech from a high school friend because I don't know kung ako lang to or kasi back in high school, di masyadong uso yung outside orgs, like orgs that aren't affiliated with your school. So I don't know if that's just my high school or kayo rin. Yeah, so as in like before in high school, I didn't even know that I was allowed to join these orgs outside or not affiliated with my high school. So when I found out about WiTech and how my friend is a part of it or was a part of it, and then how they accept any youth from anywhere, I got really, really excited and really pumped because I was like, oh, pwede pala yun. Because I was really into service work naman talaga in high school, but all of it was within the bounds of my school. So like with fair work or like prom or something. And I never really thought about being able to join orgs, non-government organizations, and like orgs that aren't affiliated again with school. So I got really pumped. And of course, not just that, syempre I find my personal advocacy in line with WiTech's advocacy as well. I really, really admire how WiTech advocates for inclusivity in the field of STEM, not even just for women, but also in general in terms of socioeconomic class. I'm also very interested in how we, I think like I mentioned earlier, we aim to educate and inspire and empower a bunch of youth, not even just Filipino youth, but all over the world, to break gender barriers and make a difference in and through tech. So I found that really cool, and I'm also kind of like a STEM plus the arts or a STEAM nerd. So I thought this was a really good way for me to get into that passion by, helping society also. Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
So, di ba, parang nakaka-amaze while listening to Miss Alie. So, Miss Alie, we all know, di ba, that we are currently in a pandemic. So, parang nag-change yung setup natin. Parang suddenly, we had a shift from face-to-face to online. So, how did these initiatives adapt to the online setup? And what challenges have you faced as you acclimated to the new normal? And how did you overcome them? Tara, ang daming follow-up question.
Parang mga tatlo na yun, ah. Okay, but anyway, yun na nga, sadly, we aren't able to do any of our events or our projects physically or on ground. So we definitely had to adapt to the online setup, but I don't think that was fully a bad experience, because I think we were also able to reach a much, wider reach. Because we moved a lot of our initiatives online. So like what I said, we have our open access modules on our website, and then we held our WitCon and WeTalks online. And what I'm really, really proud of also is that for our very first online WitCon, we were able to have, I think, over 400 participants. So I think that's definitely a lot more than we would have had if it was physical or on ground, especially because a lot of the participants weren't from where we normally would hold our physical WitCon. Like, some of them weren't even from the Philippines. So as for the challenges that I and my team have faced when the pandemic hit, I think the biggest would have to be balancing WeTech alongside the pandemic and all the other things that are happening in our lives, like online school, sometimes family problems, friends problems, and so many other problems that were only heightened by the onslaught of the pandemic. So I think that is the biggest problem or challenge that we faced once we hit the new normal or the pandemic now. So what I'm really happy though about WeTech is that they're very understanding and supportive of this, and they know that our lives don't completely revolve around WeTech, and that we have a lot other things going on. And I'm really proud that the WeTech team values the well-being of our members, and so we don't really force people to do things. So what I like about this is that when you volunteer to do something, because our work is mainly voluntary, when you choose to do something, let's say when you choose to work on an event or make a pub or something like that, it's because you actually want to do it. And I think that's what's at the heart of advocacy work talaga, is that you do things because you're passionate about it and because you really like to do it. So I think it's this certain level of empathy that WeTech has that has really helped all of us overcome this challenge of balancing and all the chaos that's happening because of COVID. So yun.
So, what is your advice po to those interested in starting their own initiatives or organizations in the future?
Oh, okay. That's a really nice question, actually. I think the biggest advice would have to be to find a community or a support system So I don't know if you guys can already tell, but I think a running theme in a lot of my answers are about having a support system or people that can help you get through your struggles or just empathize with you and share the same passions with you as well. Because for me, I can't really stress enough how important it is to have other people to work with and to collaborate with. Because for me, when you're passionate about something or if you want to advocate for something, you don't have to found an entire organization yourself, or you don't have to do everything independently or do all these really big scary things, especially when you know that this will probably take a lot of your time and a lot of your effort, and it's something that you really have to think through. So to me, you really don't have to do that unless you really want to, because when you advocate for something, it's okay to work with other people that also advocate for the same thing. And what I like about working in teams is that you can serve or you can take part in the mission by doing what you are passionate about. Because for me, the problem with working alone is that you have to take on all of these hats. You have to do so many different roles. But when you're working in a team, you can work on a specific thing or you can do a specific thing. And that kind of complements what other people are good at as well. So for me, you don't really have to be as good at one specific thing as other people are, because you can have your own little edge, which works really well or complements with other people's edges. So once you get to put that together, it makes a really good team, which for me helps push forward that advocacy in a better way and more united and stronger way as well. So yeah, case in point, it's perfectly fine to not have the exact same passions as other people, and finding a community of people that have the same advocacy but not necessarily the same skill set is for me a good advice or a good starting point for starting your initiatives or organizations in the future.
Wow. So actually, di ba, napaka-insightful ng mga sinasabi ni Miss Alie. Like, nama-mind-blown lang ako mga beshi habang nakikinig. So, yeah, parang that sums up almost everything. But before we say goodbye to Miss Alie, is there anything that you want to plug with regards to your organization and advocacies? And what could our listeners do to get involved?
Right. Okay. So apart from the really big plug that I already have made, I think one other thing that I would love to mention is that we're opening applications soon in June. So I think a really good way to get involved with us is to be part of our team. So if anyone would want to do that, hello listeners, if you want to be a part of WiTech, we'll be opening applications in June. So just watch out for that. But apart from that, you can also just simply support our posts, our blog articles, our events, and our other initiatives. You can sign up for our newsletter, and you can join our Facebook community as well. So yes.
What are your Facebook handles nga po pala in WiTech? Or do you have other social media platforms also?
Okay. So we're WiTech on Facebook. On Instagram and Twitter, we're at WiTech.org. And we also have a YouTube channel, which is also WiTech. And our website is www.we-tech.org.
Ayan. So all those guys, mga beshies, are linked in the description ng post na ito. So, you know, if you guys wanna join WiTech and see ano yung mga advocacies nila, so feel free to go to those links, and baka malay nyo, you might want to join also. So, ayan mga beshi. So, this episode was really insightful. Ang ganda ng mga answers ni Miss Alie, and it really inspires us, especially us na the younger generation. Wow, the younger generation. Kaya I consider myself as a tito na nga. So parang ganon, to inspire us to, diba, to stand up, to do things for the betterment of our society. So we would like to thank Miss Alie. Thank you
Yes,
so much
thank you po.
for lending us your time and your expertise
Thank
and for giving
you.
us some words of inspiration. Wow, ganern.
Thank you.
So mga besties, we also have another speaker. So our next speaker is currently a sophomore in the University of California, Davis. She's taking a double major in psychology and international relations. Our next speaker founded Talang Dalisay Philippines in the year 2015, so that's her sophomore year in high school. It is a non-profit organization dedicated in raising awareness about mental health and mental health issues and battling stigmas. She's also the founder of My State of Mind, a worldwide youth-run organization with the goal of expanding the mental health advocacy of Talang Dalisay outside the Philippines. Our next speaker is a public speaker and has worked for local and international publications. She's a writer and artist in the California Aggie, the UC Davis's official student-run newspaper. She is also a YouTube blogger. So our next speaker is none other than Miss Macy Lee. Yay! Hello, Miss Macy.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me today.
So, Miss Macy, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. I think right now it's just more of trying to finish school. I recently got vaccinated, like my second dose of the Moderna vaccine. Really happy about that, although it did hit me really hard. I kind of got a fever, I think the second day, but then the third day I was like, okay, naman, so yeah.
Okay, that's really good to hear. So, tell us about your life there in California or in UC Davis in general.
I think it's super fun because especially we started going out more once everyone was vaccinated. I think obviously wherever we were, like last year, was more restrictive because we couldn't just go anywhere. But I think it's all of a balance of like adulting and making sure you take care of yourself while also doing well in your academics and involving yourself in things. So I definitely struggled at some point because I had to like cook for myself because I live in an apartment, so I had to, you know, like do all those basic house chores while also being on top of school. And then in the weekends, usually that's when I have more time to hang out with friends and do things outside of Davis, like driving to different parts in the state, which is super fun. So that's kind of like what I do in a week. But definitely Zoom school has just been, there's a lot of like fatigue that comes with it, which I'll probably talk more later on, but I think I've gotten more used to it now. Like when it first started, I didn't really vibe with it. But now it's more like, yeah, this has been happening for the past year, so yeah.
So, Miss Macy, can you tell us about Talang Dalisay po? What is it all about and what are the things that you do there?
So Talang Dalisay is just all about mental health that is for and by the Filipino youth. So it's centering on how can we connect social issues that are happening in the Philippines to our mental health, and how can we proactively do things as young people to address those issues. And that's kind of what it's centered on, and it's a very also meaningful organization, I believe, because internally, if you sign up to become a member, I also really plan and consciously make activities that will help, you know, the wellness of members who are active there. A lot of us also go through our own mental health issues, and I think that making it a safe space for people is really important, other than just like making projects, right? So that's kind of what we do. And logistically, it started when I was in high school. Kind of by accident. I wasn't really planning on making an organization, but it kind of happened once I started making my mental health blog. It was already named Talang Dalisay, but I wanted it to be a blog. So originally it was all just like me sharing my mental health experiences. But other than that, it kind of evolved into like a lot of my friends getting involved, a lot of people from high school, people from other high schools. So that's kind of how it grew.
Really amazing. You know, Miss Macy, just listening to your experiences about what Talang Dalisay is, how did it start. I can't help but stan, like, mga beshies, grabe talaga. Like, at a very young age, because I myself wanted to start an organization when I was in high school, pero we had a lot of constraints kasi, di ba, I don't know sa mga nakikinig sa atin, pero sometimes high schools, like, alam mo yung may restriction in joining or starting organizations na kailangan school affiliated lang. So parang that was the barrier, like, not hindi lang siguro sa akin but for a lot of our listeners out there. So I want to ask, in what ways have your initiatives and advocacies addressed the prevalence and stigmatization of mental health and illnesses in the country?
I think just by making more, like, encouraging other platforms to rise in a sense. I think individually our projects have helped specific communities. So, for example, we really try to help people with autism, people with Down syndrome, and we focus on those select groups. For example, schools that help these kinds of people with exceptionalities. But aside from that, I think the biggest impact we've done is really just like making known to people that young people can do something. I think that's really important because a lot of the times some people invalidate the power that we hold just because of our age and our lack of expertise thereof. But I think in that sense, it kind of encourages more young people to go out of their comfort zone and actually do their own initiatives for also other advocacies. So yeah.
So, Miss Macy, how did these initiatives adapt to the online setup since we're right now in the pandemic? Well, like, what challenges have you faced as you acclimated to the new normal?
Yeah, challenges is like definitely just not seeing people in person. I think this goes for everyone, just like in and out of school. It's definitely weird to do everything online. So that was just like the first change, and I think for me another one personally is just like not being able to go back home for the summer last year. Like that was really weird for me, but it kind of like still worked out nevertheless. So I think those kinds of things. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but I also like forget sometimes like how to talk to people again. Like when I see someone like in person, like here I would bump into some people like in the grocery, and I'd just be like, oh yeah, hi, I kind of know you from last year. And I think, you know, those kinds of things, like adapting to real life again, can be very difficult to navigate.
Yeah, I can really relate to that, especially when interacting with a lot of people. Diba mga beshies? Parang we're so we sort of adapted to an online setup na parang ang weird na kapag nakikita na natin in person yung mga people that we used to interact in real life. So, yes. And also, I can really agree na napakahirap ng mga initiatives, especially pag online. Kasi, diba, we are in a very tight situation. Tas parang we're not used to this. So, yes. So also, given the distal state of public health systems worldwide, what is the significance of your advocacies in the context of the pandemic?
I think it's more of creating safe spaces in communities where people can safely vent out or express their needs. I think more than ever, a lot of people are looking for, free mental health resources. And I feel like a lot of young people find it intimidating to per se go to like a clinical psychologist and stuff like that, just because the idea can be intimidating. And while we can, like, we do have like a resource pool if someone needed to, see someone, we do have those like resources for them, like if they were to ask. But I think it's more of if they wanted the option to create friendships and to meet people who have the same advocacy, we have that opportunity open for them at all times. And we did work on that, not in TD, but in my state of mind. And it's something that we are currently still working on until now. And I just think it's really, really nice, especially for, people who are definitely more are on the more introverted side, and they just want to kind of find a safe space to be able to just be themselves and to find people to relate with.
Your initiative is very inspiring, Bono, and it's nice that there are organizations like yours that provide safe space and advocate for mental health. But we'd like to ask now, what is your advice po to those interested in starting their own initiatives or organizations in the future?
Yeah, I think you really have to think if you can commit to it, number one. I think people can be passionate about many things, and there's no doubting in something that you say you're passionate about. But I think it's more of, will I commit to this time frame? Will I be patient, and growing the organization? Will I also be patient with myself, because it's a whole journey that you have to go through. I definitely had to go through that with myself. A lot of the times I kind of step back and ask myself, is this even gonna go anywhere? Because I was just so unsure if what I was doing was right. So it's more of just the patience thing. You also need a lot of empathy in that process, and if you're willing to be empathetic with yourself and other people, it'll be so easy to, number one, not be hard on yourself, and number two, it'll be easy for you to be able to relate to all kinds of people. Because in the process of making an organization, you have to talk to a lot of people that you don't know, and you'll just meet them, and you have to be you have to, just understand where they're coming from and how to work together well and how to communicate yourself properly. So there's a lot of that. You'll definitely be more of a people person once you start an organization. I consider myself fairly introverted. I'm not introverted that much, but I think I'm just right. But I was still so intimidated when I started off, and the idea of talking to other people and just doing interviews, I did not when I was young. I was 15, my 15-year-old self could never, I would just simply say no and just be nah, I don't want to do that, because I was more of a doer in silence than doing all of these things. But this also comes with that, so that's just another factor to consider when starting your organization.
All right. So, Miss Macy, before we end our question and answer portion, we would like to know what are the recent projects or recent activities of Talang Dalisay that you want also to plug in this podcast. Para naman yung mga listeners natin, when they get interested, they could check things out. Where can they find you? Where can they find Talang Dalisay?
For Talang Dalisay, I think the biggest thing right now, we had a few projects that already passed, but right now we're doing a podcast. So this is also involved in our regional teams. We recently opened up TD to other parts in the Philippines, not just the national capital region. So we have different provinces that are involved and are expanding right now to reach more Filipino youth. So we're doing a whole combined project with that. I believe that all the posts in our social media, so if you would like to get involved and know more, it's just all Talang Dalisay on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, our project is our new thing. It's gonna be up soon on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, and it's super exciting. And it's just basically, you can tune in and listen to it wherever you are. I think the point of the podcast is just we wanted it to be if you're alone and you just want to hear things that'll calm you. If you need to talk to a friend, but that friend isn't necessarily free to give you advice on certain topics, this podcast is for you. You can just listen to it and hear what our members have to say. So it's hosted by our members, and they just take turns with each episode. But yeah, our podcast is our big project right now.
That's great. Okay, so we would like to thank you, Miss Macy, for lending us your precious time, especially with the time difference. Napaka nakakalula yon. So thank you so much. In behalf of the 𝗪𝗏 team, we would like to thank you for your time, for lending your expertise, and for lending us such good answers and responses. Thank you so much, Miss Macy.
Thank you so much, everyone, and best of luck in the rest of your episodes.
So, ayun no, mga beshi. Napaka-rich ng ating interview kanina. Ang dami nating natutunan.
Yes.
Ang unang-una kong na-pick up, no, is that age is not a hindrance to start an initiative. Like, it's possible to make a difference no matter how young you are. Like, you don't have to wait to graduate college and have a stable job in order to do something to benefit your community. Because as young as we are, we do have already our own hopes and dreams, and we have our own passions and things that are really close to our hearts. Pero, some people na mas matanda sa atin, we always get bombarded by the notions na incapable ka ba of doing anything because you're too young. But the truth is, you're not.
Oh, that's very sad.
Because okay, maybe as young people, we're awkward, we don't have enough knowledge or experience, but we can learn that along the way, if we actually begin. So these people, Miss Alie and Miss Macy, they're actually very inspiring in the sense that they're not only dreaming it, they are actually doing it. They are putting their goals into action. And that requires courage and determination and a certain kind of skill. And, of course, understanding people, but most of all, empathy. So, wow, as young as they are, ka-age lang natin sila, or maybe just
slightly older, they're
already doing something that impacts the community. It's so nice.
Oh, actually, nakaka-inspire. And also, with the current technology that we have, parang hindi na maging malabo for us to start or to join initiatives kasi with the information that we are getting from the internet, from other sources, ganyan, parang along the way, we start to learn. I agree ako doon na in these initiatives, we can actually learn also along the way. And isa pa sa mga napulot ko, pulot of the day lang, hashtag magandang buhay, ganun. So yung isa sa mga pulot of the day ko, yes, is an initiative takes a lot of patience. So both in other people and yourself. So nalearn ko talaga to kay Miss Macy during the interview kasi 'di ba she said na during the interview during the time that they were starting, parang 'di ba when you start an initiative, parang iniisip mo I want to create something big agad na parang it will impact a lot of people. Tapos sabi ni Miss Macy kanina na it really takes a lot of patience kasi you will really start small, 'di ba? So you will have patience sa sarili mo na parang sometimes aabot na siguro sa point na alam mo na pupuntahan kaya itong ginagawa namin, are we really reaching people? Pero at the end of the day, if you become patient to yourself, patient to others, you will get to realize na may na-achieve pala talaga kayo, and hindi mo lang siya mamamalaya na you go big na pala talaga. So lalaki na pala talaga yung initiative niyo, and magigising ka na lang one day with that fulfillment kasi your initiative has reached a lot of people already. So, yun, napakasaya ng ganung feeling.
So, isa pang napulot ko, Beshi, no? Ayan, nagagaya ako sa'yo,
yes,
pulot of the day.
Pulot of the day.
So, advocating for something, sabi nila, diba, advocating for something does not mean having to do big, scary things on your own. And it's okay to have help from others. Yung sabi ni Miss Alie nga is, you can have a really small edge and that would complement other people's edges. And when you get to put that together, you make a really, really good team. So, that's nice, no? That if you have something you're passionate about, hindi mo kailangan mag-start ng initiative yourself in order to contribute. But you can join organizations who share the same ideology or vision as you. So, it's best to find groups where you have the same interests, but you have your own unique skills because that way,
you do work together more efficiently and smoothly.
To me, ang nasa isip ko is, it seems like yung finding the right group or right initiative is like building a puzzle. And you get to be a piece of that puzzle. Because, the pieces of the puzzle complete the picture.
Yes.
So, just like that, you together can build a world that your organization or your initiative envisions. And it takes a lot of effort, but at the end of the day, you did something, diba? You made a difference. Even though you didn't start it, you can think that you're just a member, but thing is, you're a member, you're part of it. You're part of the difference. And that, you get that sense of fulfillment, diba?
Yes. Ang taray, I like it. I like na parang sabi mo, it's like a puzzle, tapos you're part of it. Taray talaga, Beshi. Grabe. Ang dami mong tweetable quotes today. Grabe, nakaka-proud. Grabe.
Thanks, Besh.
I like Yes, grabe. Pero as in, totoo, like, tama nga yung sinabi mo, di ba, na you're like part of the difference. So, you don't really have to feel bad if member ka. Like, if sa tingin mo, member ka lang, you're not, member ka, pero hindi ka member ka lang.
There's no ka
diba?
lang. Yes.
True.
Love that.
Totoo. So, also, like, so sa mga people also na takot, kasi baka isipin nila, initiatives really take a lot of time. Napulot ko dun sa interview natin with Miss Alie na parang it doesn't really take all your time kasi hindi naman ikaw lang yung magtatrabaho sa isang initiative. You will have groups of people who will help you, and it's okay help is okay, or help is great, di ba? Parang you don't have to take the weight of the world all to yourself. Kasi di ba, no man is an island nga. No man is an island. So, yun, magtulungan tayo, and di ba, parang distributing the workload, it allows you to create or establish work na even sa lahat and based sa expertise ng others. At the same time, hindi niya rin kakainin yung oras mo sa buong araw. Kasi syempre, whether we like it or not, hindi lang naman initiatives yung ginagawa natin. We are also students, di ba? Miss Macy is a student, Miss Alie is a student. So, we have our academics also to juggle with the initiative. So, sa mga takot dyan na baka maapektuhan yung ACADS ko, baka hindi na ako makafocus, ganyan. Hindi po, it doesn't take a lot of time kasi marami naman kayong gumagawa within an initiative.
Yes. That's the best thing I think about like being in an initiative or organization is that these initiatives allows you to reach out to people and communicate your ideas to a team. Yun nga, kasi syempre may sarili-sarili tayong yung mga cause, mga issue na sobrang importante sa atin. So, kasama ako dun sa mga takot na parang, okay, baka kainin yung buong oras ko, baka, like, ang hirap na nga ng academic kasi dadagdag ko pa yun sa oras ko. Pero, talking to them, it's nice na malaman na, okay, may paraan pala na i-communicate mo yung mga idea mo kung ano yung gusto mo na nakakatulong ka pa rin or nakakapag-contribute ka pa rin to the defense. Ayun nga, importante nga kasi yung team. Like, you don't have to do everything alone. You have these ideas, you have these people to reach out to. And you have to remember that life isn't just about us. It's about cooperating with other people and doing your best to make a difference in this world. So, yes.
Pang Miss Universe yun, Beshi. Oh my God. Mahihiya yung top 5 sa sagot mo. Dapat ikaw yung pinanlaban. Char.
Shadow ko maliit
Mahihiya yung top 5 next year, ha? Next year, magbinibini ka na. Ganun. So, totoo. Like, I really enjoyed this episode. Kasi, di ba, parang we got to interact with people who really are passionate sa kanilang mga ginagawa, sa mga advocacies nila, sa mga initiatives nila. And it's just heartwarming to realize na hindi lang pala tayo yung, like, we are not alone in this fight.
Yes.
Diba?
Gusto ko yan, Besha. We are not alone in this fight. Quotable.
Of course, inspired tayo lately kasi may nag-reply sa akin last.
Ay, thanks. JLo 2021.
Ganun. So parang, di ba, we are not alone in this fight. So for people who are experiencing mental health problems, ganun, they will realize na hindi pala kami nag-iisa. Di ba? We have Talang Dalisay there to help us. Ganun. For women in technology, for the marginalized sector, for us as MT people, especially with the current state of SNT in the country, we get to realize na hindi pala tayo alone sa pinaglalaban natin. Ganon. So, ayan, very enriching yung episode natin for today. As in, ang taray. Ang dami nating quotable quotes, Beshi. Like, we should make a book together.
I mean, Angie.
Parang,
let's go.
Truly. So, ayun na. So, thank you so much pala sa mga nakinig sa episode. We would like to thank you all. And also, guys, again, we would like to encourage na yung mga information na narinig nyo in this episode, feel free to share them to your friends, family, sa crush nyo, baka makapag-umpisa kayo ng discussion about it, di ba? Taray. So, share the information. Kasi information is power nga naman, and we live to empower others. So, we have to share that power. Ayan. So, apart from that, we would like to thank our 𝗁𝗁𝗧𝗃 team for everything, like the marketing, the externals, the research, sa technical team namin, sa mga nag-edit na mga sabog naming boses palagi. We really thank you guys. Kudos to you all. And also, tune in guys sa aming next episode. Our next episode will still be about youth-led initiatives. So, parang continuation siya, part 2 ng episode natin today.
Ayan.
So, ayan. So, this has been a very talaga. This has been a highly enriching episode and inspiring one also. So, stay tuned. Sa mga hindi pa pala nakaka-follow sa amin or nakaka-like sa aming pages, we have our Facebook page named 𝗁𝗁𝗧𝗃, and we also have a Spotify podcast named 𝗁𝗁𝗧𝗃. We also have our Twitter page at 𝗁𝗁𝗧𝗃. And I guess that's it. This has been your resident chikadoras. This is 𝗬𝗨𝗪.
This is V.
Signing off and see you next time.